Hey y'all, and good morning. It is Saturday. It's actually nice and cool out, so I'm gonna try to do some work in the garden and get some other chores done around the property. It was low 90s yesterday. It's supposed to be low 80s today, so hopefully I can get a lot done before the heat kicks on. Right, so I planted asparagus here, and that is what these are. Little asparagus popping up. So I'm just gonna let them do their thing. They're far too small to harvest or anything. This is the first season they've ever been in. Got little asparagus. So in like 3 years, they'll be appropriate for harvesting. So it is definitely tomato season. This one I'll have to cut around here. But otherwise, this one looks really good. I'll let it ripen on the counter a little bit more. We're getting a lot of tomatoes right now, eggplants, peppers, and the yellow straight neck zucchinis or squash. These are pretty much gonna be my last ones. All right, y'all. These large tomatoes are from today and yesterday. And then we have our lemongrass, our mint, beet leaves, basil, sage, more basil. And this is the real house, so, you know, it's not perfectly organized. Anyways, this is the haul, and I'm going to start the drying process of these herbs. Hey y'all, it is Thursday. It is supposed to be very, very warm today, high 90s. I just got done watering the garden. It is, I think, about 7 o'clock, and I need to harvest. I haven't been out in the garden for a minute. Yesterday, unfortunately, I was under the weather, and then like life happened, so I don't always get out in the garden. And we have a lot to harvest, so come join me on my harvest. All right, now would you look at this? Look at this. All right, it's got bugs on it, so I'm gonna give it to the chickens. See how it's going bad on the bottom? So I'm gonna give this one to the chickens. Let's go see if the other one's in good shape or not. Okay. Let's see if this one's in good shape. Hi, Tiny Tim. Can you move? You're ruining the shot. Nope, no, get down. Tiny Tim, you need to move. Okay, so this one's in better shape. It probably does have some like rot and stuff in it, so I'm gonna give this one to the chickens. It was also hanging out low, so it's more likely to have bugs in it. See the split? That's from getting a mass amount of rain, and then the tomatoes just swell up. Okay. I've been harvesting the tops of these, but now we have beets, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out. No, I don't want you on my lap. Get off my lap. Nope. Excuse me. You need to move. Nope. Mom's not wanting that right now. Alright, so see how small this is? That's because I put all my seeds really close together and I didn't thin them out, so the bulb didn't have a chance to get large. But I wanted the leafy greens because Daniel and I don't really like the beets, so that's not really an issue for me. The green beans are ready to be picked. Hey y'all, I want to share with you some tips and tricks from the garden. In a previous video, I had said that bell peppers do not ripen after you pick them from the vine, which generally is true, but if you do want them to continue to change color, here's a tip. So these red bell peppers all looked about like this. Or maybe this one. And now they have predominantly red coloring. How you get them to do that is you put them in a spot with sun exposure. So I have them near a window over here. And if they are with another bell pepper that has started to turn, they will help each other ripen. I'm not a scientist, some of this might be wrong, but this is how I get them to turn red. But if they're just sitting by themselves and they are just green, they do not turn. This is a yellow bell pepper that I picked the other day. This is also the same variety of yellow bell pepper, and if I keep these together and or with these other ones, this one will turn as yellow as this one. I found also this is actually a jalapeno, and I had it sitting with the red bell peppers and it changed red. So if I keep these green jalapenos next to the red bell peppers, this variety turns red. So hopefully that's helpful, but it's not like a tomato where you just pick them, even if they're green, you can pick a tomato and leave it with other tomatoes and it lets off a chemical that ripens the tomatoes, and that's how they do tomatoes in the stores, is they pick them green and they let them turn red off the vine. Another trick is with tomatoes. What happened last year was we had an early frost, and so all my tomatoes were actually green because I had planted them late, and I picked them all and I wrapped them in newspaper, which does work, but the better way to get them to change color is if I were to just clip the whole plant, stick the entire plant in like our mudroom or garage or something, and they will continue to ripen on the vine even though the vine has been severed. So hopefully that is helpful, or you've learned something new. And if I've said something wrong, feel free to correct me because I'm still learning. And here are my onions that I put out to dry before I left town because we've had lots of rain, and this was the only spot I knew that would be outdoors in the sun, but also covered by the rain. So this is where it's been sitting. Hey y'all. I have these onions that I've been curing outside, and now I'm gonna go ahead and bring them in and store them. Like this one, the tops are completely dried out. I've brushed off most of the dirt. And this one isn't so pretty. It's like multiple bulbs. And that's just how it goes sometimes. I'll show y'all a really beautiful one I have. Here, you can see it right here. Here's my really, is this the large one? I think this is the large one. Here's my really beautiful large onion. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the tops, and I'm gonna store them in these mesh bags and, you know, somewhere hanging so they have airflow around them. Hey y'all, so these are the onions I planted in the fall and I harvested. I let them cure outside, and I followed what I saw one person did online, and I am now finding out that is not the way to do it. So I want to share with you what I'm doing to still preserve and keep the onions that I have that are still good, and why you don't do that. So basically, with the skin all around this, the video said to cut the tops, cut the roots, and then you just store them. They didn't have to be all the way dried out. However, they do. The tops here should be completely dried out before you trim them and store them, because this is one of my most beautiful large onions, and it actually is like rotting and it has worms in it. So how I am saving the onions that, you know, that they're still good is I'm peeling off all the dried and the rotten bits, and then I'm going to dice these, cut them, and I'll freeze them rather than letting them just store dried out in a cool shaded area. So I'm still learning, and hopefully none of you guys ever make this mistake if you try to do onions.